that is involved in this situation.
Here's the thing. What's scary in all this? It's that the public doesn't know anything.
Mhm.
When we as a public want to know about what it is and how to run and who to run for, what made you decide to run for this judgeship?
All right. Well, let me introduce myself. So, my name is Marylin Pierre, and that's why I go by Marylin for Maryland because the judges at the four levels of courts in the state of Maryland are all state employees. So you might say, so for instance, you have the district court for Montgomery County, the district court for Prince George's County, and all the various counties, but that's still a state position. You have the circuit court for the different counties, same thing. So my motto, Maryland for Maryland, that's what I go by. It's easy for people to remember who to vote for when they get to the to the ballot, when they have the ballot in front of them. My name is Marilyn Pierre. I have been practicing law for over 28 years. I am a former military police officer in the Army Reserve. I'm a former chair of the Montgomery County Criminal Justice Coordinating Commission, a three-time winner of Maryland's Top 100 Women, a Leadership in Law Award winner, and numerous community service awards as well as pro bono awards. I and I say that because I'm very proud of those awards because I got those awards because I was serving my community when I got those awards. I got into law when I wanted to be a lawyer ever since I was 12 years old. I could tell you the date. It was July 2nd, 1978, Thurgood Marshall's 70th birthday.
Before you keep going on, my wife and I, we just visit Thurgood Marshall's gravesite at Arlington.
Oh, wow. Arlington is open?
Well, yes, I was able to get in.
Oh, wow. Oh, you must know people who know people who know people. I don't have people like that. So.
But we were able to get in, and we were there, and we saw Ruth Gator Ginsburg's where she's gonna be buried with her husband there, and they're near each other. So I had this impromptu conversation with Thurgood because to me, civil rights is everything. People who are fighting for the rights to be a human citizen is everything. It's in my blood. I'm an activist. I get it. But I'm also an educator. I like to teach people how to live wholly and completely. And that's what I started this show with Bridges Live, to give people information, understanding, and hopefully that puts them into an action. But go ahead. Thurgood was your inspiration.
And and this that's just a fascinating story because okay. Let me keep on the straight and narrow so that way people can follow the conversation. So yes, and I'm sorry about my voice. I'm sorry I have to keep drinking something warm with lemon in it so that I could. So we've got 2 more days of me shouting at people saying, "Vote for Marilyn Pierre." So, yeah. So on that day, because I heard all the things, well, not all the things, so many of the things that Thurgood Marshall and his colleagues were able to do to expand human rights, expand civil rights, just basically bring so many people into more of their human self that I said, oh my gosh, I love to talk, I love to read, I love to argue. I know that I want to be a lawyer. So I single-mindedly worked towards achieving that goal. So I went to grade school, and then I went to John Jay College of Criminal Justice. Then I was admitted to Howard University School of Law, and I was just so happy and so thrilled. Thank you, because that's where Thurgood Marshall went to law school. So I wanted to be as close to him as possible. And I was, because while I was attending law school, he was on the Supreme Court bench still.
That's right.
And it was just such a thrill to know that I was in such close proximity to him. And then I became really I get a thrill out of helping people, and educating people about their rights to make their lives better and things of that sort. But then a couple of years ago, I started looking around, and I just didn't like what I saw, and I kept on questioning it because we're told that Maryland is a very progressive state. We're
Right.
told that Montgomery County is even more progressive than the rest of Maryland. So I thought I was living in this really progressive place, and so things were just not computing because I would go to other counties and represent my clients, and they would get some fair sentences, they would get some fair results, and I would come to Montgomery County and my clients would get slammed, and I couldn't
Wow.
understand why. And I live in Montgomery County, so I didn't want to see that because it frankly made me feel unsafe. And I have, I have a husband, great guy. I have two sons, so I'm a mother of black boys. And I kept looking at them and going to work and looking at the courtrooms, and I'm like, oh. And, well, I mean, I also have a daughter, but she was younger, so I wasn't as worried about her in terms of getting involved in the criminal justice system. And then, I started paying closer attention, and the more I paid attention, the more difficult it became for me to keep quiet.
Mm.
So I started asking questions. I asked the state's attorney, why is it that only, black boys seem to be in this courtroom, young black men who look like my sons? Why are they the only ones in this courtroom getting prosecuted? And he's like, well, socioeconomic factors, neighborhoods, the police being in certain neighborhoods. And I'm like, well, that's not good enough, because crimes occur in other places as well.
Right, right.
Because I got the reputation for challenging the powers that be. And I said, you know what, with my qualifications, I should be going on the inside so that way I can help, at a higher level. Basically get on the inside, educate people, and make them understand that, or even if they don't understand, make them rule in a way or see some of what's going on so that way there could be less, things could be more equally applied for the people that I was concerned about. Right. So anyway, so I applied to become a judge, and oh my God, I did not know I was such a terrible person. How dare I try, to get into a position that would actually be able to help, people that I care and I'm concerned about. I started hearing that I'm not qualified, I'm not this, I'm not that, and then I was, I'm a teacher just like you. So I looked and I said, okay, well, maybe I need more education. Why not?
Right.
More education can't help. And then I said, there's room for improvement. So I went and I tried to improve myself and tried to get to the position. And the harder I tried, the more qualified I became, the harder they came after me because at that point they couldn't argue that I'm not qualified anymore.
Right,
But
right.
to make a long story short, I realized that they never were going to let me in the so-called old-fashioned way. So where basically they get chosen by their friends and friends of friends, and then they go up to the governor chooses them, and then the public is just supposed to go check. There's no competition or anything else. And since I realized I didn't have friends of friends of friends, and and even if some people told me that they could get me through if only how should I say it? If only I put some things on the back burner.
Like what?
If only I could do certain things that they were asking for me to do. And I said, I'm not that kind of person. You could ask my husband. I've been married 27 years, and I've known him for like 33 and a half years. The person that I am now is the person that I am. I'm not going to, say, hey, let me cook you dinner every night while we're dating if I'm not going to do it when we're married.
You know what? What do you say? Don't apologize for being a strong black woman. Don't ever do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I give him room to be a strong black man because I really think it's important for kids to see both parents being their true selves as opposed to one who's constantly, I guess, watching for the other's feelings just to make sure that, his ego isn't hurt. I mean, he has to be strong enough to withstand So the kids could see that and say, oh, okay, I could be my true self with whatever spouse that I find when I'm
Mm-hmm.
of age. Right. So anyway, so I saw that that wasn't going to work. And then there's another way for you to become a judge, circuit court judge in the state of Maryland. That is, you could challenge the
Judge.
appointed candidate.
Right.
And so I challenged the appointed candidate. 2 years ago, I challenged them, and I was 2% behind on the Democratic ballot. I had no money. I was out there by myself trying to cover 250 polls. And I was 2% behind. This year I challenged them, and because more people had heard about what I was trying to do and why I
Mm-hmm.
was trying to do it, they then decided to support me. And so in the Democratic primary, I was able to to get more votes than two of the challengers. And oh my God, did that open up
A can of worms.
oh my, wow, so much animosity that I'm like, I'm a lawyer. I know what the law is like. I know what my mission is. And so I'm just trying to accomplish my mission of it to help people. And then things really came out, in terms of, you know, in terms of the bad things that were being said about me. But, I didn't pay them any attention. I'm taking the higher ground. And because I know that some people, they do things just to distract you. And once you're distracted from your mission, they have accomplished their goal.
That's right.
Because you're not working as hard on your mission anymore. So I decided to work on my mission. And here I am in the general. And oh my gosh, it has been such an adventure. I told you about the restraining order
Yeah,
already.
yeah.
They put commercials saying, what was it? Saying that I'm a liar. And what else am I? Oh yeah, what they're insinuating that I have a criminal record and I cannot pass a background check, and that's why I'm doing it this way. I mean, they're just throwing everything that they can at me, and it doesn't have to be truthful, but yet they are. And I will tell you why, because it's not about me personally. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dr. Dyer.
Well, I want to give you a break so you can take some water. But there's one more thing I want to do. I just want to give such high praise to your husband. And I want to give high praise to the family members who stick by you and friends who stick by you. Because and I've worked with candidates before, but when you run for office, it is everyone who surrounds you is in the fire zone of being attacked. And when you have friends, families who maybe they can only be one or two or many who say, you know what, Marylin, I got you. And then for your husband to be like, no matter what, girl, when you come to this house, I got you, and you can cry here. But when you're out there, you're going to be the strong woman I know you can be. Now, that takes an amazing human being, and not everyone has those human beings around them who says, I believe in you no matter what, because they're going to come for you. And they will come for you, and they have come for you. And it's up to us as human beings, as a black community, as community, to say and trust and ask the questions like, Marylin, I heard this. Is it true? And then when you speak, we hear your heart and your truth. So go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. And you're so right, because without all the support from my husband, my children, the rest of my family, my friends, people who have the same mission that I have, I would not have been able to stand up, because they go so much after me. But enough about me, because I really, really want to talk about the mission.
Yes,
and why it is
please.
so important. So thank you very much, guys. Okay. Maryland is such a difficult place for black people to live in, especially in Montgomery County. I told you about the anecdotal evidence that I had in reference to how harsh the punishments were in Maryland. Well, now we actually have reports that actually show in true numbers how harsh Maryland is, and especially Montgomery County. Like, for instance, in the country, there's an average of 140 children being arrested per 10,000 students.
What?
And well, hold on, Dr. Dyer. Hold on. Okay, so it's 140 students on the average per 10,000. 140 students per 10,000 are being arrested. That's the national average. In Maryland, it's 217 per 10,000 students. In Montgomery County, it is 322 per 10,000. 217. Montgomery County, it's 322. So talk about the school to prison pipeline, because these arrests, a lot of them are going to end up in court, and a lot of these kids are going to end up, well, being put in some sort of institution. Then let's talk about the rest of it. The Justice Policy Institute says that Maryland incarcerates a higher percentage of its young black males than any other state in the country. I'm sorry, they didn't say. They had a report that they published November 2019. So if you Google Justice Policy Institute, November 2019, you will see the report that says, Maryland incarcerates a higher percentage of its young black males than any other state in the country. Higher than Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. I mean, you name the red state that you're thinking is more conservative than Maryland and more harsh than Maryland, and you will not find it, because Maryland, the progressive state that we're supposed to be, incarcerates a higher percentage of our young black males than any other state in the country. In addition, that report talks about how while Maryland's population is 31% black, its prison population is 70% black, which is the largest disparity between total population and prison population. Okay, so what that basically means is that Maryland is incarcerating its black people at a rate that is higher than any other state in the country. So, as a mother of black boys, I was extremely concerned about that. As a lawyer who got into law so that I could help people and expand their rights, I was extremely concerned about that. As someone who represents people who are being tried, and I was extremely concerned about that. I'll give you an example. I had this young man who was accused of credit card fraud. And the restaurant when he worked at couldn't prove that he was doing it. So they did this thing where they had a camera, they put $47 in a cash box, he took the money, he wasn't supposed to take it. So we went to trial. At trial, they still couldn't prove the credit card theft was him. And so they proved the $47. So I argued to the judge, hey, basically the only thing that the state proved was that my client took $47.
Right.
So, give him the consequences for stealing $47. He shouldn't have taken it if that's the most that you could do. Well, he did not agree with me. So for stealing $47, as was proven by the state's attorney, my client, at 18 years old, was given a 10-year sentence. And so, okay, I didn't see the reaction that I needed.
Well, you know what? First of all, I'm trying very hard to not just listen, but take notes. But I'm trying hard not to cry, because I'm in pain listening to these numbers, because numbers are numbers, right?
Yes.
And
there are people behind those numbers.
Yes.
Those numbers are really, really scary. I know. See, that's why I'm sitting there watching all of this, and I said, oh my gosh, I've got to do something about this. And that's exactly why I'm running for judge. I couldn't sit there and watch it anymore, and and just not do something about it, because I felt that I became part of the problem.
You're correct. You are part of the problem. We are part of this problem. And that's why I'm so happy we'll do more of this. I guarantee we'll do more of this, win, lose, or draw, because this information does not get to the community that is so going to jail. So and people say, well, it's out there. It's a public information. But first of all, we don't know how to look for it. We don't know where to look for it. And we're like thinking, I'm just trying to get my black boys home, so why should I be looking for this when we see the incarceration, we feel the incarceration, but the rate that is so high, you would think a community who cares, quote, about people would be talking about this on a Channel 4, 6, 2, and all these other, what you call, multi-million-dollar...
No. Like I said, I agree with you. And because I live in Montgomery County, because I wanted to think that I lived in a place that was safe for my family and I kept on saying maybe I'm wrong, maybe. And I could send you the reports and all these other things. As a matter of fact, yes, I will send you the reports and all these other things because it's really important that you yourself look at them because, and I'm sorry because they are sad, so, but it's information that we need to know because, like they said, forewarned is forearmed. And so anyway, my client who was sentenced to a 10-year sentence to 10 years for stealing $47, I appealed the case, and he was out in a couple of weeks. I mean, he still had to spend a couple of weeks in prison over something as silly as that. But he's out. He's been doing really good things. And my client was actually fortunate. And the reason why I say that is because there's so many who don't get anybody fighting for them, who don't get the case appealed. And even if you don't go to prison, your life could be, well, devastated by the so-called justice system. Let me give you an example. I know this young lady who, when she was 18 years old, you're 18, you're having your own for the first time, you decide that you're going to do something because your parents aren't around to tell you no. So she and her friend decided that they were going to steal something just for the thrill of it because, you're 18 and, it's thrilling to do something like that. So she stole something that was being sold for $4.99. Her friend stole something that was closer to $100. They got caught. They got charged with theft under $100. So her friend goes in front of a judge. The judge gives her probation before judgment. Look, you did something criminal. You were stupid. Don't do it again. Go away. Go to college. Get a job. Pay some taxes, and all that kind of stuff. She, on the other hand, went in front of a judge who said, I'm going to make an example out of you because I'm tired of these University of Maryland students coming into our community and wreaking havoc. Wreaking havoc because she stole something that was on sale for $4.99. Okay. So he finds her guilty. Her lawyer did not appeal. So she still has a criminal record for stealing $4.99. She has since graduated from the University of Maryland with a degree in aviation science. So much smarter than I am. But she cannot get a job. And the reason why she cannot get a job is because she has to check the box. Do you have a criminal record?
Right.
Yes. And even though when she interviews with whatever company she interviews with,
doesn't matter.
She says to them, this is going to show up. This is what happened. I was 18. It was for $4.99. It was silly. It was stupid. I shouldn't have done it. But because she has to check the box, that's it. There's no way around it. She cannot get a job. Her friend, on the other hand, who got the probation before judgment, can get a job because her friend did not have a criminal conviction. And the only difference had to do with the two judges who heard the case. Okay. So now, because she was convicted of a crime, and she has a criminal record, she cannot get it expunged. What she has to do is wait 5 years from now, when her criminal conviction would have been 10 years old. She then could ask whoever is the governor of Maryland to grant her a pardon. So that way, then she could ask for an expungement, and then she could check no on the box or something of that sort. So that means that she is at least 10 years behind her peers
Right.
in terms of getting her career started. She's never going to catch up. And all because this person wanted to make an example out of her. And so we really have got to pay a lot of attention to what's happening on the judiciary, because this could have happened to any one of our kids.
Yes.
Because as hard as we
There's so we will make sure another time. I wanted to get you on to hear you, so you can speak your voice, so people can hear your voice, and so people can get out to the polls and vote, because that's the only way we're going to get this rectified, is if we take back the courts. We know what has been done across the country with this president and how many people he's put in the courts, and a lot of these judges are not. We're not talking about favoritism or favorable. We want to talk about equal justice. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about, because so if it's not equal justice, it's a misjustice. So that's what I want to say about that.
Yeah, I think it's really important that when we are looked upon, we're not looked upon as, okay, these are people who are going to fill up the beds in the prison.
Right.
We should be looked upon as, oh, okay, this young person needs to go to college so that way this person could get a job, pay taxes, and provide nice, comfortable nursing homes for people like
No.
Yeah, so I am doing this for me after all. So now,
where do you see us going if this keeps happening? What's your foresight about if this is?
Well, in order to keep myself centered,
yes, I know.
I cannot think about that because I have to think about stopping it right now and reversing it.
Okay.
Because the idea of it getting worse is inconceivable to me.
Yeah, yeah.
And if I think that way, I would think that it would be too overwhelming, and I might as well stop fighting the tide. So I have to think that there is something that I could do. There's something that people like-minded with me can do, and there is. Because I think with educating the community, getting the community engaged and involved, holding people accountable for what they do to us, I think that is really what we need to work on. It's doable. We have the numbers, which is why they're packing the courts. They're packing the courts because we have the numbers. And so, therefore, the executive branch and the legislative branch is something that is not going to be something that they could control. But if they could control the courts, then they could control us for 40, 50, even more years. Because you talked a little bit about the new Supreme Court justice.
Mm-hmm.
You notice nobody talked about changing the law. Nobody said,
no.
We need to go back and change the law. What they talked about is the interpretation of the law.
Yeah.
And that's really what we have to work with. Because the legislature and the executive could pass any law that they want to. Well, the legislature could pass the law, the executive could sign it into law.
Right. Right.
But whoever's interpreting that law controls what that law means. So you don't have, like for instance, the 14th Amendment. It was used in Plessy versus Ferguson to define as separate but equal being constitutional.
Yes.
But in Brown versus Board of Education, it was used to say that separate but equal is not constitutional. Now, between those 80, I think it was like 87 years or something like that, not a comma was changed, not a dot was changed, nothing was changed about the wording of the law itself. It was just the interpretation.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why the courts are so divided. We started out talking about when I was able to get some members sworn into the Supreme Court. So we arranged ahead of time to meet with Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg because she was just so fabulous and kind and wonderful. So we're after the swearing-in ceremony, we are escorted into her chambers, and then I said to her, "Hey, when I got sworn into the Supreme Court, and I took a picture with you. That was the first time I met you. Thank you very much. You were so kind back then. But you were in different chambers. I remember this is not what it looked like. And she said, "Oh yes, now I'm in Thurgood Marshall's former chambers, and I'm so happy and I'm so proud. Here's his picture on my mantle to remind me
Right.
of that this used to be his former chambers. He was a hero of mine, uh, and and I mean, she was just so kind and wonderful. And that's why behind me you see my picture of Thurgood Marshall, because I want to make sure that I know that he's behind me all the time and he's encouraging me, and he in that I'm doing the work that he would have done had he been here. So that's why I cannot think about the possibility that this is going to go any further down the road than it already has gone.
Well, I want to say thank you so much, and I want to save your voice because you have more campaigning to do tomorrow. You probably have some phone calls you got to make tonight, and I know I'm going to be out there campaigning on your behalf for the rest of the way on, like I've been telling you, because this is so important to me, so important to my family, so important to so many people, and a lot of it has a lot to do with information and understanding. And I don't think people have the information. I don't think people understand. And when you don't have those two things, how can anyone care? So,
That's true.
and
That's
and
true.
and we keep saying that people have so much apathy and so much patheticness on them, but I think it's also poetic apathy is because they get dumbed down with very little information and misinformation. So the misinformation creates this chaos where people turn away from chaos. Where I was taught as a young boy, look into the chaos because somewhere they're trying to hide a truth. So if someone's trying to create a chaos for you or try to create a chaos in an area, somewhere in there they're trying to hide a truth that's the light for you. So thank you so much, Miss Marylin. And I know you'll win. I believe it in my heart. And if you don't win, you win with us because we need you on our side. We need you on the people's side. We need you in our courts. We need you in our lives. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. And if I could have a minute to talk a little bit more about our game plan to win.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you. In this race, we have five people running for four positions. So, and I'm number five on the ballot. So I'm hoping people won't go one, two, three, four, and then move on. Yeah, because what I'm hoping that they will do is instead of voting for four people, they only vote for me. Now, I know it sounds like voter disenfranchisement, but it's really strategy. Three of their people are going to get in anyway. Okay, and these three people were appointed by Governor Hogan.
Okay.
When, when Governor Hogan first got into office, one of the first things he did was build more prisons.
Yes.
And yeah, and I think you remember the controversy where he took money out of the school system. I could get more weapons is because they have such a heat for this race,
Right.
and 95% of that.
That's
No more to
important.
think about what that means.
Right. I know what it means. Because
Who are friends of mine who didn't mind publicly supporting me.
okay. Okay.
Because the tide is just so much that it's really, really difficult to find it. One of the reasons why I'm asking for people to vote for me as well, is because, like I said, they have such a huge advantage. Uh, they were the four who are running for judge were the Republican nominees in the primary. I was a nominee in the Democratic primary. They have our names down. They have the name of the person who lost the Democratic primary down. His name comes before mine because it's listed alphabetically. They don't they don't say who won the primary. They're just saying these five people
Right.
are running for judge. They
Right.
don't say which four won their primary. So you understand like what a huge advantage
That is.
yeah, and that was done on purpose, and I understand that, and so therefore I have to work twice as hard, and we have to be strategic about our vote. So it's not voter disenfranchisement; it's strategy.
You know, it's always seems that, you know, I know I've been hearing this. I know you've been hearing this for your whole life. We have to work twice as hard just for us to get in the room. We always, and people think we keep making these up. We keep trying to make some sympathy, like, oh, you're always saying that you got to work really hard to get where you are. No, it's just a fact. It's just a fact.
Yeah. And I don't mind working hard.
No.
You know, and I just want to get, you know, equity for people. I mean, it really, really saddens me because I see so much potential being lost. I mean, so much potential. I do a lot of juvenile cases, and these kids are so smart. They're just, you know, they're just, they could achieve so much. I mean, they could come up with a cure for cancer. They could come up with you know, a car that runs on water. I mean, you understand?
I do.
I mean, they could do so much good for our society, but their potential is just taken away. And sometimes even by the time that they get to be a young teenager, they've already given up on life because it's been so hard that you know, fighting every single day, so that because somebody's constantly trying to beat you down, telling you that you're not good enough, giving you the impression that, you know, your life is not worth as much as someone else. It's really, really sad, and so I really, really want to fight for these kids because I want them to know that their life is just as worthwhile as anybody else's. And
you know, because we have to be the voice for the voiceless.
And I remind people that I'm a former military police officer, and if this threatened our public safety, I would not be making this argument because the numbers in Maryland, as skewed as they are towards incarcerating Black people, it's not because Maryland is such a, you know, a crime-ridden state. We live in a relatively safe state, and that's what the issue is. Not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You need to be put away for our safety, but that's not what the issue is. People who believe that they're not going to get justice, then there's no reason for them to cooperate with us when we tell them that you have to follow the rules. They're like, well, why should I? You know, no matter what happens, you're still going to come after me anyway. So I might as well do what I want now. So we have a social contract.
And that we've missed that. We have missed the ball on establishing the court we wanted. And I don't know when we dropped the ball. I don't know how we dropped the ball, but I know we would never play.
Is because the court was designed to do certain things.
Okay.
Because when you have corporations who are out there, you know, hoping that they could use the labor that is in the court system for their own profit, then of course they're going to encourage certain things. For instance, you have the people who are fighting for 15. Well, Starbucks, for instance, is using prison labor to make its cups and its straws. So why would they to make their cups and straws for them? And also, as taxpayers, oh my God, do we get a short end of the bargain? And you know, that's well, people talk about me, oh, you're so progressive, you're so liberal, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, it's not a progressive liberal or liberal issue. It's an issue of moral justice.
Right.
And for the people who can't see that, they're like, well, I'm not a young Black male. I'm not even Black, so why should I care? And I said, well, as a taxpayer, you pay $45,000 to $50,000 a year per incarcerated individual. So my client, who got a 10-year sentence for stealing $47, you would have paid almost $500,000 just to house him. Could you imagine what the state could do with that $500,000? They could pay for these kids to attend college for free, and you know, come up with I don't know, a cure for COVID.
But we've known that the prison's been using people in prison for free labor. It's the second slavery turn. That's all it has been. To build the railroads, to build the roads. Yeah.
Yeah. Michelle Alexander has such a powerful video on YouTube. Michelle Alexander, the author of the New Jim Crow.
Yeah. I read the book.
Mass incarceration generation in the age of colorblindness.
Yep.
My favorite video of hers is the speech that she gave at the University of Chicago. I think the speech is a 2013 speech. To meet her, it would be my pleasure.
It's my pleasure. I will talk to you later. You have a good night. Legislative, yes, but also in our courts with Marylin, people like Marylin. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dyer. I just want to give my website, which
Please.
is pierreforjudge.com, pierreforjudge.com. And also, one of the issues that we've been having is for people voting on the electronic machine.
Okay.
If you target vote or bullet vote on paper, that's not a problem because you just circle one and move on. But on the machines, what's been happening is if you vote for one person, the machine says you can't do that. But so what you have to do is you have to press next, until it gives you the next race to vote for. All the way at the end, after you've voted for everything, it will ask you again, and it will tell you that your ballot is not complete. If you press next, then it will accept the ballot and the vote will be registered only for me.
And I did that. So I knew exactly what they were saying because I hit next and it says not completed, and I was like, no, I can only vote for one person. I don't have to vote, and I hit next, and it came back up. So I was like, I looked at that machine, I was like, you got to be kidding me, right? So I did hit next, I did everything you did, and then it did exactly what you just said. I'm like, I wonder how many people know this. I don't think many people do.
They don't. I don't think many people know that. That's why we're educating people, because a lot of people have come back to us and say, oh, by the way, this is what happened. I couldn't vote for you alone because of that. So we're telling people this is what you have to do to get it done. There's a lot of work, but,
we got it.
Because of our spiritual belief,
yes.
We know that, it's a hard road, but we got the energy, we were given the intelligence. Now we have the information. We can get it done.
We can get it done. We're going to get it done.
Yes.
We're going to get it done.
Exactly.
Much love, and I want to sign off with a prayer, please, if you don't mind.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for listening to our words. Thank you for holding your hand on Miss Marylin Pierre. Thank you for guiding her through all these storms and these wicked puzzles that she is getting to put through. Not a test for you, dear Heavenly Father. It's not a test for you. It is a test for us, so we may hold you in the high esteem to know that our truth shall be heard. In Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dyer. It is such a pleasure to be here. Sorry we had to talk about such a difficult topic.
No.
Maybe next time we can talk about something more.
No, we need this. We need this. I've been wanting a show with an attorney or for a long time, because when all the black boys were getting shot in a rapid succession, seems like this past summer, there was things that we just don't know how to do or what to do, how to navigate. Because remember, most people don't know that the law is not about right and wrong. It's a language to be misinterpreted. So it's just like if you don't speak French, it doesn't mean that they're speaking bad against you, it's that you don't know what they're saying. So the law, the language is the same thing. It's an understanding of the language. And us commoners, which is what we call ourselves in the courts, doesn't know the language.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they don't want us to know it either, because then we start questioning and wondering and